Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. Today we're with my friend, Mr. Calm Intra. Man, you know what? I just realized I still am butchering your last name, man. Should I say it or I'll just let you say
No,
it? So
it's like Prince, right? Formerly known as Com. I know we
oh,
never say my last name because
that's right.
I'm the only Com you
Well,
know.
I say it sometimes, but then I always butcher it, so I don't want to do that. So, man, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great, doing great. I always enjoy our conversations offline and online, David. So really excited about today's topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get right into it today. What we're talking about is a program we're coming out with together, which is incorporating AI into your sales process. So I've been doing sales for a long time, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And you've been doing technology and AI. So why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? Let us know a little bit about yourself and how you got into the field you're in.
Yeah. So it's Com, like .com, Com Intharath. I'm the CEO of Compound Effect. I've been in the marketing and a growth strategist for 2 decades. So look, branding, go-to-market strategy, digital transformation, customer success, customer experience. I mean, with AI evolving, we've always been dabbling with technology and AI. So we're seeing a lot of that as a trend, but it's not a trend. You still need to understand the fundamentals of all the different things around like marketing, sales, client success, but weaving in AI and in operations to optimize all that.
Yeah, I love it. And what I've been doing, most of my listeners know for the last 36 years and teaching for the last 12 is sales, helping salespeople and business owners and entrepreneurs close more sales and connect with more people and ultimately follow up and make more money. And so what you and I are doing is we're partnering together and we're collaborating on a way that we're going to make that process more efficient, more automated, and more, what word am I looking for? What other word? More intentional. I don't know if intentional is the right word, but
Productive,
productive. Yeah, I like productive.
you know.
It's going to be smarter, man. It's going to be a smarter process, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you and I hear this all the time with our clients, and it's lead generation. Everyone says lead generation. I need more. I need more. I'm not getting qualified leads. I can't manage my time, so I never get to follow. I hate follow up, or I want to do follow up. I don't get a chance to do follow up. So scaling all of my process and systems, it's just like there's just a lot of stuff stacked against salespeople and sales teams that they want to get done, they just can't get it done.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is that these are numbers that don't lie. Is 80% of sales comes from follow up. And it happens between 5 to 12 attempts is the average. So if you think about it, 80% of your sales, will come as a result of follow-up from 5 to 12 attempts. But yet it's proven the average salesperson follows up 1.5 times. Like 1.5 is the average. I mean, it's wild if you think about how many things have fallen through the cracks, or how many business owners and where customers and people are losing because nobody's following up. I mean, as a matter of fact, it happened to me today. Somebody I talked to 2 days ago, hasn't, he didn't even follow up with me. Like, he sent me, I sent him my information, and and honestly didn't even bother following up with me. I ended up running into him at a networking meeting earlier today. So, it's just one of the pain points, but there's so many. Lead generation, time management, follow up, scaling. So talk to us about, how do you come in? Give us a couple of ways where you could take what we've been talking about. How does what you're doing with AI help people in these areas? Let's use follow up as an example.
Yeah. Well, if you got to follow up, right, there's you have to schedule, or you also have to figure out where should I be following up, right? So if you're using a CRM, you can look at all your lead scores, your scoring, priority, medium, priority to low, and you want to make sure you're following the hottest leads, right? But you're looking at your, not just the quality of the leads, but then what stage are they in. So with automations and with AI, you can kind of identify what's the formula that I'm looking for. So it's like a matrix, like between the size of the deal, the when it should be closing, and then what stage it's in. These are like parameters you can put in, and then the AI can make recommendations. Also look at your calendar and what's happening in Steve's calendar this week, and he has this coming in, so things as things are fluid, because that's what happens in just as us as humans and as salespeople, you're taking calls, you're especially if it's a lead coming following up and you're trying to close that deal. Now there's a ripple effect across your calendar. So like automating these things with AI can help you stay organized. But then having tasks automatically either populate on your calendar. Like for me, I like to look at my calendar. So like if it's not in my calendar, it's not going to happen. If someone's using a CRM, you also should, and you should be living in there as a salesperson. Let's say it's Salesforce or HubSpot you're using. You should see the tasks that you got to get done that day. So these tasks should be populating automatically with the like automation and AI tools. So that's how you can kind of always stay organized and on top of what you're doing, but it's aware of your calendar as well, so you're not also missing things.
Mm. So obviously, with the follow up with the automation, and let me ask you this question on a deeper level, or maybe not, maybe more of a surface level. Is like what we're doing with AI, or what people, not us, but what people are doing with AI, essentially just setting up automations and triggers, or is it go actually a lot deeper than that? Because I've heard that recently. Someone's like, well, I can do all that. I can set that up. I know how to set up triggers and alerts and things like that. Is it more than that?
Well, that's how it is. Definitely more than that. Yes, that's a simple, straightforward answer. Of course, triggering automation has always been around, but when you layer in AI with this intelligence, it starts to understand patterns. It also starts to understand your cadence. So think of it like a virtual assistant who really understands you. So it also knows where you're probably constantly like skipping meetings. So it starts to see a pattern, then it will make recommendations and makes changes to kind of really help you be that sales assistant to get you to execute what you need to get done. But you can also have conversations with it. It's not just about follow-ups. Like you can say, hey, you know what? You can have like a verbal conversation with it, not just typing. The tools out there now are getting so sophisticated where it can hear, see, what you're doing. So you say, hey, I have this situation, A, B, and C. This is the challenge I'm having. How should I follow up? Because I think a lot of people where they struggle, David, is that they're trying to figure out with the blank slate, how do I rewrite this email? Or like, I'll put it off the paperwork because I got to like think and take mind space to do that. But when you have this AI assistant that can like bang out proposals because it knows how to scope your projects for you, because you train it on how to like, oh, this is the scope that the client wanted, and it then produces a proposal. Boom, that's a tedious task you don't have to do anymore. Then that's the AI assistant that's truly making you more productive and effective.
Yeah. So I want to. So if you look at the sales cycle that I teach, it's really just five fundamentals. There's five pieces. This is what I believe in the sales process. Number one is your introduction or your greeting. Like it's me connecting with somebody. That's the first step. Like there has to be a connection point. It can be, obviously with AI, you're doing it through email, phone, text, whatever. Okay. The second is going to be qualifying, pre-qualifying, or pre-qual, whatever you want to call it. Right. It's called different things for different businesses. The next step is going to be your then consultation, meaning I have a consultation with you, or I have a presentation with you. So now maybe I'm demonstrating all, everything I've learned so far. Now it's the point in my presentation where here's my presentation. Okay. And then the next step is going to be the closing process, which is where a lot of people really, really get stuck. This is probably an area I see them. Like I talked about the person earlier that didn't even follow up with me, sent me some information. I sent him what he needed, but I feel like he didn't have the confidence to follow back up with me and ask me to move forward. Like he was almost waiting for me to call. Okay. So you get the closing, and that's so common. And then the final step really is follow up again. So if you take those 5 steps, from your experience, like what do you see is like think about the AI process, right? And like, how do we like embed the AI into each of these steps, right? So like you start at the beginning, right? Like at the intro, the greeting. So kind of break that down for us. Can you kind of share a story of like how's AI going to make the introduction greeting better for somebody?
Some people organically have the skill to communicate well. Some salespeople can't communicate well. This is where AI can really help them craft better messaging.
Mm.
because there's just like grammatically I'm not a great writer, but I know what good copy looks like as a marketer, right? So I have copywriters that I work with all the time. My wife jokes with me. She's like, "Come, why do you even do your own writing? You have people that do it for you, right?" I go, "Well, I want it to be authentic for me, but that's where an AI assistant can help you write. So that introduction is critical because it's the first impression,
Mm.
right? And then you can take other folks' best practice, like introduction emails. If it's a cold email, you can take what the masters that you see out there do, and then you can also show it your email, your cadence. Because again, you don't want to sound like someone else. That this is your personality. If you're kind of whimsical or you use analogies and say, "I want to match this style here with my style. Write me a cold intro email." That's where like AI can be very powerful because it can help you kind of get that writer's block and give you confidence
So,
when it comes to communicating.
so that, I mean, so, and people listening are like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm already doing that on ChatGPT, right? Like that's probably what's going through most people's minds right now. Like everybody's an expert at email now with ChatGPT, correct? But
Not
no,
necessarily. Like
yeah,
people use people use it and then they're like, "Oh, this is AI written." I'm like, "Yeah," because if you don't know how to properly prompt it and
yeah,
properly craft and
I was being
train that AI,
sarcastic.
it's gonna sound like a ChatGPT,
Yeah,
which is also like a big no-no.
yeah.
That's almost as bad as a bad email. That's well,
And
there was
most
no
of the
thought.
emails we get these days, I can tell that that's a ChatGPT email. Like I don't know about you, but half the emails I get, and I get a lot, are somebody just throwing something in the ChatGPT. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, but there's other tools like I personally like Claude. So Claude is the AI through Anthropic. It's the tone, the language is just more natural than ChatGPT. So these are things that we help our clients kind of really uncover. Is like is it hitting the mark that you need to? Right, you got to get feedback. Just like if you had a real assistant and they're helping you, be that sales assistant to you, and they're writing copy and they're writing the proposal. You give them feedback to them, say, "Oh, here's how to rewrite it. Here's what I want you to write here." So these are things that AI will learn over time. It's when people kind of expect perfection right out of the gate without any type of like training or data to that AI. That's when they get bad results.
Yeah, and so and I see a lot of the bad results just because I think people are just sending random stuff. So if you think about like crafting an email, you could craft the best email. Like let's say you craft a great email, but you send it to someone like me that's a very high direct, and you send me this very wordy email. Well, you just waste a lot of time because I'm not going to read through your whole email, right? You want to send me bullet points. Does that make right? Like you understand that. So you also have to be like the right AI is actually going to tailor each thing that's going out to somebody, whether it's an SMS message, whether it's an email. It's going to be specific to the person. It's going to have some knowledge of the person beforehand, or maybe even reference something from a past conversation, right? Or something. So like at the end of the day, I think I see that as one of the biggest mistakes right now that's happening with AI, just getting so many random messages, emails, texts, voice call. Like I just think it's like the wild, wild west right now with AI.
Yeah, David, it's no different than like email marketing, right? Or even like people are doing LinkedIn DM marketing. It's spammy. So like it's how you go about it. Like you can do email and be spammy, or you can do email marketing, which works, and do it right with finesse. AI is the same thing. You can, oh, we have this tool. These are all tools and tactics. You can take AI and weave it in, but if you kind of do it without, proper setup and finesse, and also put in the right effort to train it, it's going to come across spammy. And that's what the program that you and I are working to help these sales leaders and teams refine these things so that it works and they're seeing results, because everyone is they're just overwhelmed, or they're sick of getting these crappy poor emails and DMs. So it's like, okay, how do we break through the noise?
Yes. And the other part I want to talk about is scale. So the reality is we only have so much time. Right. You like imagine being able to replicate yourself. Right. Imagine being able, like, if I could find someone else that does what I do, holy cow, like with my experience, to be able to follow up, to be able to make the calls, to be able to yeah. I mean, that's what we have in front of us right now. Right. I mean, that
Yes,
is there.
we
Talk about that.
can. We can, David. We can clone the handsome you into an AI avatar. It will look, you would not even know the difference. that it was you. And then actually, we should actually test this on your wife and have it like send her like a voicemail
That's a
or a
good
video
idea.
a video message. But there's a company out there. I can't remember their name right now.
There's a
They were
few of them
able.
now. There's a new one too that just came out too. There's a
Um,
couple.
well, I meant how they used
High,
basically
it's
they.
High Gen, I think, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, I was actually going to reference a use case. So there's a company who was able to save 700 jobs, or maybe like in their from a business standpoint, they didn't have to hire 700 customer service reps because they're able to use AI to be that customer service rep because it's that sophisticated, it's that natural and realistic. So now think about this in sales, right? You can have a BDR. So instead of having a BDR do it, doing these outreaches, the AI can do it, and it sounds very natural. I
What's a
think there was also
BDR?
business development rep. Sorry.
Got it.
Sorry, I shouldn't be
Got it.
using acronyms here.
No, no, just tell us what they just tell everybody what they are, because
So because they're the ones who like do a lot of the cold outreach, and they're teeing it up, and then they maybe hand it off to like an account executive to close a deal or something like that.
yeah.
So now, from a follow-up standpoint, that BDR could have a version of themselves, right? So now, like, that's the issue with them is like they have this huge list to do calls and emails. When someone's like, "Okay, I'm ready. Yeah, let's learn more. Let's jump on a Zoom call or whatever, or a phone call." Your AI can sound just like you. You train it to your cadence.
Wow.
You can also train it with other cadences, other best, best top salespeople, and then train their framework. So their nuances, train them on like the proper phrasing, your skill set, David's right, is training people how to properly close, how to listen for different nuances and ask the right questions. Like the AI can all learn that and be that true assistant to save time for a salesperson. So yes, you can technically clone yourself.
So let's jump to step 2 now. So somebody's kind of identified themselves through maybe an email or some means that they're interested. Now, step 2, pre-qualify. Now, normally what would have to do is I have to jump on a call. Maybe it's a 15-minute call, 30-minute call, whatever. There's going to be certain level, like higher quality leads. Like let's say somebody comes in and, I know they're the CEO of a Fortune 1000 company, right? And I'm like, okay, I probably want to jump on a call with this person, but maybe there's other levels that's like, I don't know about that. So how do we solve that problem?
Understanding like who I should be spending my time with.
Essentially, yeah. Like, are we not necessarily our time, but I think what I'm alluding to is how do we leverage the pre-qual part of the sales process? So do we have like having a system now that can maybe send a series of questions, the right type of questions that would then tell us, okay, here's somebody that we should put on the call with one of our sales reps?
Yes. So like they do this a lot with customer service reps, but even for sales reps, if you're on a call, like a Zoom call, and that's pretty common, right? Is doing these Zoom calls versus in person. On the side, you can have the tool with AI infused into it to listen to the conversation in real time. So it's transcribing, and there trigger words and semantics that can get pulled real time and say, oh, by the way, this is the nuance that they're actually saying, or they're getting kind of negative, or oh, by the way, don't forget to say this. So it's like having that. It's almost like watching game tape, but in real time, right? To say, oh, that's right, I didn't ask the budget, like, because you got to kind of, there's certain qualifications that salespeople want, right? Time, budget, resources, like, what are the pain points? So making sure that rep, especially a younger rep, is going through this checklist, but in real time, this assistant is mentoring them on the side, and they see it like, oh, and it says, oh, ask this question. So it really helps kind of even in coaching in real time. So that's how you can do pre-qualification, because you don't want to waste your time after that discovery call to then realize, oh my goodness, I didn't ask the most critical question, which was budget. So now the chances going back on that call again could jeopardize the flow of that sale.
So that's, I love that you said that, because that's actually something I hadn't even thought about yet, but actually I was thinking more about like, hey, having AI get them to a certain stage before they even get on a call with me, which we can do and we will do. But now you're saying, hey, listen, not only that, but as you're on the call, the AI is kind of sitting there coaching you through the call too. Like, listening in and giving you feedback, right? Like that's next level. Like I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest with you. I mean, I use
Yeah.
Otter, so I guess I should have thought about it, but
But that's something you wouldn't, you probably, you probably wouldn't know about, Dave, because like I live in the AI and tech space, right? Where you're a sales guru. So that's why we're coming together, putting this program together, because we're seeing the complementary areas of our expertise and our experience that we can put together for, sales teams and leaders. So that's why, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And I hear this all the time. I mean, really bright people who don't live in and aren't, tinkering with these AI tools that I do every day. And I say, oh, have you tried this? Let's look at this. And it's really, it's fascinating to see the opportunities out there and the capabilities available for all departments, not just sales.
Yeah. So I want to jump to the next step is step 3, which is going to be the presentation demonstration section. How would you use AI in this section?
So presentations, either you have a template, so you can take that template and upload it to, let's say like if it's ChatGPT, for example, or Gemini, whatever tool you're using, and say, I'm presenting, this is the goal, these are the challenges, these are the goals, this is what I'm going to present, here's my deck, what do you think? And it will actually analyze the slides and it'll make recommendations. It'll say, actually, you're missing the mark here, or I would recommend maybe saying this. I will also recommend maybe adding like a graphic here or a case study here. And then you can have a conversation again with the sales AI bot support and say, is there anything else I should consider that might be an objection?
Love it.
For my presentation. And I'll take it one further. And I did this with my daughter because she was prepping for like a mock trial. So it's like basically role playing. So then I say, hey, role play with me. You are Steve, the CEO that from ABC company that I'm gonna go pitch, and these are his challenges. So role play. Let's role play this right now and ask me some difficult questions. So now you're actually having a conversation with this AI assistant bot back and forth in real time.
And you're getting coaching, and the AI is going to put together a perfectly tailored presentation based on the person's personality, based on their behavior, based on their mannerisms. It understands all that. So like, even though like a lot of salespeople I know, even good ones, kind of have their own canned presentation that works for 70% of the people, but it doesn't connect to the other 30% of the people that you know what I'm saying? Maybe that are different behaviorally, where the AI can see that and make those adjustments for the person. So I love that. All right, let's go to the close. My favorite part of the sales process, the closing. I don't know. I mean, I think I just have to be there. How do we leverage the close?
So the close, of course, you don't want the AI doing the closing for you, right? So similar to that example earlier where you have it on the side, real time kind of coaching you, that's, I think, beneficial, because there are some reps who get nervous on the close, and all the reps are amazing. They're just great closes, right? But I think it's always great to have, we can always be better. So again, having this assistant at your disposal to really kind of be that safety net for you, but also kind of help push you and guide you. Like that's a way to help you close. And I mean, the other things are follow-ups, because maybe you're not closing on the call, but there's some follow-up items. So if you want to spin up something quick, they say, hey, can you get me a case study or something like that? For example, like I had to do that, for a prospect that we were talking to, and they, can you give me 3 case studies? And I said, actually, we don't have a formal case study, like all designed out and pretty on the website, but we actually have a client that's going through this right now, but let me send you their case study. So normally you would go back and like talk to your team and kind of like, okay, what were the challenges? How did we solve it? What were the resources? But I was able to just explain it to the AI, and it wrote me the whole case study. Something that would have taken me, maybe an hour or so. Like I was able to refine and have it completed in 10, 15 minutes, and I sent it off to the client. Because sales is all about time, right? You want to time kills deals. So the sooner you can get back and get answers in front of your prospect, the better chance that you can close it.
So my goal and your goal as well is to get our clients on, in a Zoom meeting or on a call or in a live meeting with the person that is the furthest up the funnel, right? I mean, I'm sorry, down the funnel, and they're ready to move forward. Like they know, they understand your product, they understand the pain points. They're like ready to be closed. Here's something I see here where, here's a perfect example. Earlier, I was with somebody, I met with her, she's selling her house, and she said, well, have you sold, we're literally getting ready. I went through everything, and she said, okay, so how many houses have you sold in my neighborhood in the last year? And I said, well, we sold actually this condo up on Rentham Road. And she said, okay. And I said, okay, so other than that, is there anything else? She's like, no. Okay, great. So we move forward. It's literally that simple. But a lot of times, and I could have, like, some salespeople may continue moving down through their whole presentation, but at that moment, there was nothing else. So why continue going? So having the AI actually pick up on cues like that with people, and actually coaching the salesperson, like, hey, close. Like, that's my vision here, brother, of what we're, and of what we're building. So I don't know. It's super exciting to me.
That's a funny story you said that. I remember being on a call with my VP of sales and my sales rep, and I was in there from a marketing expert standpoint, right? So we have to collectively come together to, help close this deal. And I remember my VP of sales sent me a message. It said, "Shut up, Com. It's done. It's closed." He's like, because I just like to talk. Again, I'm not as a sales. I'm a marketer, but I appreciate and understand sales, right? But that point, now that was a real person on that call with me. Now imagine an AI assistant doing that, saying like, "Hey, wrap it up, done. Don't ask any more questions. Just ask for the, ask this last question for like, hey, how should I send the paperwork, whatever." It's like, that will be so helpful for, I think, salespeople who kind of get in their own way.
Yeah. Or giving salespeople easy ways to just ask somebody, hey, have you heard enough to move forward? Whatever it is, right? It's just a question. And I think some salespeople put so much pressure on themselves to close, and it shouldn't have to be like that, Com. It should just have to be like, hey, I've provided all this great information. You're with me. How do you feel? Are you, I feel good. Great. Are you ready to put me to work? Like, it's sometimes it's that simple. But just helping people get to that point in the process. And that doesn't happen on call 1, right? Or call 2 sometimes, or even call, like I said, 5 to 12 is typically where we're at, but getting people to that point. Yeah. You were going to say something.
Yeah. I got one more actually really important point. Know how after a call, they ask questions and that rep's like, actually, that's a great question. Let me get back to you, because they can't answer it. They don't have the knowledge for it. Now imagine the AI, it's tapped into every single resource in your company. It understands your products. It understands everything. It hears that question, and right away, right along your window, David, it gives you the answer. So the rep can say, "Oh yeah, Steve, blah, 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 blah." So now, again, right, time kills deals. You don't have to leave that call. You can close the deal right there because you have this AI assistant that's helping you answer questions without having to say, "You know what, let me get back to you. I got to go ask Sandy over here." And now it's like, here's the answer. Because when you actually have an AI that's internal to your company, and it understands your products, customer service, everything, all the nuances, right? It's really there. It could be also used for onboarding sales reps too, because it can train them as they're trying to learn and acclimate themselves with, your business, the industry that you're in, and all the sales, communications.
So I know we were planning about 30 minutes. We're going on 29 minutes now. I got a couple minutes extra if you do. But I want to hear from you. I mean, we talked about follow-up in the beginning. I think we've hit the 5 points that really, I believe, fundamentally is the sales process. Those are the 5 fundamental pieces of a sales process, right? If you look at my book, there's 11 simple strategies to close more sales in here. And each of those strategies is a component of those 5 fundamental steps in how to be more effective. What else do we want to add to this conversation? What did I miss?
No, I mean, I don't think you missed anything. I think that's a great framework. I think what we're bringing to the table with this program, what we're trying to help people really understand, is that you can always improve all these different parts of your framework. Like you learned something today, David, right? And we know that when we're doing these workshops and we're doing these trainings with clients, they're all learning new things. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know I can do it that. I didn't know I can improve my closing. I didn't know I can improve my qualifying. I didn't know I can improve my presentation." So, and I think people, the next thing for people, if they're curious to learn more, and if we can help them in their organization, we have, I believe, a landing page that kind of lets them sign up to kind of see if the program that we have is a good fit for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so what I would do for now is I would just go to davidihill.com/book. If you go to davidihill.com/book, you get a copy of my sales playbook. And then when you get the book, we will send you the details as well on this course. The course is so brand new that we don't even have the domain yet to give you. So, but we are going to be doing a webinar soon. So I'm going to drop some details on our webinar that we have coming up. And man, I'm just excited. I'm excited for this going forward as we build it. And anything else you want to say regarding what we're up to and what we're building?
Well, we're going to layer in marketing and branding, positioning, right? So like sales, like marketing and sales are one of the same, I feel. I think that's where a lot of salespeople struggle. They say like, our marketing's not that good, or our brand positioning is not good. So that's what they got to get. They're really holistically got to get a program that looks at those two big behemoths of departments. It's marketing, sales coming together. And then now you layer in AI, game over.
Yeah. Well, see, and I just want to make this so come into this distinction. They coming together, but not the same. Right?
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of companies just kind of group them in one bucket. Hey, marketing and sales is the same. It's not the same thing. Do you agree with that?
Correct. No, it's not. I mean, you see, and whenever I see titles like VP of marketing and sales, I think that's just like, I laugh because that's impossible. That person cannot play those two roles and do it well. It's completely two different animals, two different mindsets, two different skill sets. So when we see that and we're like, oh, this is definitely, especially we're going into an organization to help them to have that type of title, I'm like, they probably don't realize the amount of work and the gaps that they have where they think what is marketing, what they think is sales. So I think, that's what we're seeing more and more is like these consolidations of these departments, but they're just misaligned.
You know what? I want to give you guys a domain to go to if you want to get more information on the program as well that we're rolling out is davidihill.com/AI sales. And then if you do want a copy of my book, again, davidihill.com/book. Com, do you want to give them your information as well if people want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can visit my website. We have a whole bunch of, you can see the programs that we run there. So it's getcompoundeffect.com. So it's getcompoundeffect.com. If you go to, you'll see sales and sales with AI right there. And if you're based out of Massachusetts, we have grants to help with these training programs that are $20,000. Some of them go up to $200,000. And I think that's a great way to kind of offset, if there's any, issues when it comes to budget for businesses, because some businesses already budget for the year, but they need this. They need this now, especially if they're trying to wrap up their year for the end of going into Q4 strong.
Hey, thanks for bringing that up because it's and I meant to ask you about this. You and I haven't talked for a couple of days, but a couple nonprofits came to me. Are nonprofits able to use the grant?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so a nonprofit could qualify to use. Okay, good to know. And again, what Com was alluding to is in Massachusetts there's what's called the Workforce Training Fund. It is grant money that is available to Massachusetts business owners. And the qualifications are literally less than 100 employees and 2 years in good standing with DOR. And then they can qualify and literally have us come in and do a workshop with their whole team. And it's awesome. And the state will literally pay for it.
Well, it's also available to businesses, David, who are out of state. So let's say they have multiple locations, but they have employees out of Massachusetts. If they're basically paying
good point
taxes like unemployment tax because they have employees there, but they could be headquartered out of Connecticut, they qualify.
Okay. So all right, good to know. Awesome. All right, man. Well, appreciate your time. Looking forward to the next one. And any questions real quick? Do we have any questions? We have about 15 people here sitting waiting on Clubhouse. Any questions for anybody? If you do, raise your hand quick. I don't see any hands being raised. All right. Well, appreciate you guys. My man, thank you. I'm looking forward to this, and we're going to schedule our webinar, and we'll get you guys details on our next coming webinar.
Right. Thanks, David.